All right, folks. Well, this video is going over the subject of Mr. Geoffrey Owens. If you recognize the name but can't place a face to it, he's better known as Elvin from the Cosby Show. And I believe it was several years ago at this point, sometime around 2018, 2019, he went viral once somebody, a grocery shopper in Trader Joe's took photos of him and posted it online, leading to, I guess in an attempt to job shame him. It's like, hey, look at this guy. He was on the Cosby Show, and now look at him. He's working at a Trader Joe's. But that quickly, turned into a positive thing because, what was meant to, shame this man turned out to be one of the best things to happen to him in years. He appeared on the Big Tigger Morning Show a couple of weeks ago. And I'm just seeing this article because it just popped up when I was on Google. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's in Papa's House. The new Damon Wayans and Damon Wayans Jr. show on CBS, which is available to stream on Paramount Plus. I review that show on my main channel, Our Kind of Entertainment. I might start reviewing it on this channel, though, just to see if the views are going to be nicer in terms of, the interest in it. Because at first the views are going well, then they kind of dipped. The show's gone until I believe January 27th, so we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But regardless, he appeared on the radio show, and I believe there was a Christmas film he is in, something about Mr. Claus's Spectacular Adventure, something like that. Regardless, I'll leave a link to the actual interview. It's about 15 minutes long, so you can check it out for yourself. But yeah, he talks about, what happened back then in 2018. Some details I didn't even know about. Basically, when the photos, were taken and got posted, he actually quit his job prior to going viral. Because, for a good couple of weeks, he was the talk of the town. He was always trending. And he basically didn't want to quit. I'm going to continue working at the store because he felt uncomfortable. He's a very private person. Essentially, this person was in there taking photos. So it's like, okay, if these photos get out there and everybody knows I work here, it's going to be pretty, uncomfortable because there's going to be so many people coming into the store trying to get pictures now. On the one hand, that's kind of good for business. On the other, I can actually completely understand wanting to be, kept private like that, because that literally put a magnifying glass on him that he didn't want. And from there, he said, I wasn't quitting knowing I was about to be bringing in a lot of money. I just felt like, it was going to be a lot of scrutiny I didn't want. Because remember, this is before he went viral. And then, of course, that led to a huge wave of positivity coming his way. Whether it be, a gift of $25,000 from Nicki Minaj, or people like Tyler Perry who offered him a role. I remember he was in several episodes towards the end of the Haves and the Have-Nots on the OWN network way back when. And when it comes to his other roles, if you check out his IMDb, he had a few roles, sprinkled on there. I think he was in NCIS for a couple episodes. It was some law show, I forgot. But yeah, he got a little boost in terms of his career from all the attention. And the thing was, he brings up something that is the topic of discussion. Even today, right now, as we speak in 2024, I'm still struggling to make a living. I struggle every day to make my ends meet. People can't get their heads around it because they see me in movies and whatnot, and they're like, well, you must be making a lot of money. What's the problem? Why are you having financial issues? And I say they don't really understand the specifics of how my industry does. So basically, he even went on to say that when it comes down to it, people have a false impression of what your average income is. But I'm in a situation where I call myself a middle-class actor, and, I'm trying to make a living from that, but I have a lot of expenses and whatnot. So that's pretty much what drove me to work at Trader Joe's in the first place, all those years ago. And he caps it off by saying, honestly, I'm not much better off now than I was then. And that's one of the worst things, to be famous but be broke or financially unstable. He even talks about, and this was the part that got me. I remember when it was revealed that, hey, Nicki Minaj sent him $25,000. I believe she even like tweeted it out or something, but he actually gave that to charity. And I remember when he did that, I'm like, that didn't seem like a smart thing. I mean, on the one hand, he did say, like, at the time, it seemed like the right thing to do because, there are people who needed that money a lot more than me. And even though I was having financial issues, I wasn't like broke. I was working. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. And because I'm like, okay, well, Tyler offered him a job because I remember he tweeted that out, and I'm guessing, oh, well, maybe he gave that money to a worthy cause because he's like, well, let me bless other people who have it worse than I do, because all of these blessings, because something that was supposed to be used against me to job shame me actually worked to my benefit, to where a lot of doors open to now me having a bunch of different job opportunities. So this $25,000, I can make this back and then some through these new doors that have opened. So this money, because I think he donated, I could be wrong about this, but I believe he stated he donated the money to some sort of charity that helps actors who are kind of like out of work. So basically it's like him giving back to those who needed it. But he goes on to say that, yeah, looking back, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But the thing was, he didn't call it a handout, but he just didn't feel comfortable accepting that as a gift, because he felt like, hey, if Nikki wanted me to do something, like, I don't know, in a video or a show or something, I would have done it. I just didn't feel comfortable taking that money. But my thing, I don't know, I just feel like if you would have kept like 20 grand and like gave 5 grand to charity or something, don't give away all your blessings, because then you look back and it's like, dang, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And another thing people need to look at is the fact that even though Geoffrey's career had a little bit of a resurgence during that period, keep in mind he wasn't like working as the main character on any of these projects. He came in for a few episodes, and okay, if you don't follow me on my main channel where I review mostly Tyler Perry content, just to give you a little background about what I do. I've been reviewing his shows since like 26, well, on YouTube since 2017, but on a blog since like 2014. But I, dropped the blog to go to YouTube in 2017. And over the years, I've had the ability to communicate with actors from, Tyler Perry's Sisters or The Oval, The Haves and the Have-Nots, and the list goes on. And I've learned so much, especially about, I'm about to talk about the subject of the writer-actor strikes of, 2022 or 2023. I learned so much, and it's like some of these actors, or most of these actors, really don't have it like, you would assume they would. I came to find out that some of these actors, I make more money than them via YouTube and selling in my eBay store than they do on shows, especially if they aren't really like a or B tier character. I'm like, dang, because I'm kind of a private person myself. I prefer, to make my money while not having what I think is a burden of being, recognized by a bunch of people if I go out of my house. That's just the way I am. But I think about how, yeah, that little bit of a resurgence probably helped him out a bit. But you have to consider 2018, that's when he went viral. He had a few roles in 2019, but guess what? 2020 had the pandemic. Then that shut down the whole industry for about a good year and a half. And then what was that, 2021? Barely a year or so, once the industry kind of was getting back on its feet, then you had the actor-writer strike. And then that put a lot of people out of work for a good, several months. So I can actually see how Geoffrey Owens would still be, in a bit of a financial bind right now. Because he even went so far as to say, hang on, he mentioned something about Trader Joe's once again. He says, Yeah, it's a wonderful place to work. He said that he has gone back and asked for hours to work there again, but he did not disclose whether he was hired back. But that just goes to show that, just because someone has appearances on a number of shows doesn't mean that, they're balling. And when asked about, well, what about the Cosby checks? I mean, those were good, right? And he said, well, never particularly wonderful for me because I did maybe 20% of the show. And that's true. Elvin didn't come into the show until, it was already well established. And even so, it wasn't like he was in every single episode once he was a character and got married to, was it Sandra, the oldest daughter? So, yeah, and not to mention, he brings up, due to what happened to Bill, that led to a bunch of networks kind of canceling the show in terms of the reruns and whatnot. So even if he had been, living off those Cosby checks for however long, once they kind of dried up because of the Bill situation, that's probably why the Trader Joe's thing became apparent. But yeah, it just goes to show you that all that glitters isn't golden. And even if you get your little 15 seconds or minutes of fame, as he did once, the Trader Joe's situation happened, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be balling. But keep in mind, like, he went viral in 2018. This is 2024. And as I mentioned, when you combine, that's like 6 years. And then if you combine the pandemic with the writers actor strike, that's a good 2.5 years of the entire industry being shut down. So you couldn't even work from that. So yeah, that just goes to show you got to manage your money right, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like for me, YouTube is all well and good, but my eBay hustle, that's how I make fast money. YouTube pays once a month. eBay, you make the money you get from your auctions or items you list for buy it now. Just because it's 2024, you got to have your ducks in a row. I mean, when you think about and this isn't even just restricted to the industry, acting and whatnot. I just look at all these corporations that are having like massive layoffs and, like Party City. I know that just went viral last week because they said they were shutting down everything. I know the furniture store Badcock, ironically enough, the place I got my furniture from a house when I moved in earlier this year, they shut down everything. So you definitely need to have, multiple streams of revenue. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. That's understandable. But, even if you have a regular job right now, you got to be doing something on the side, even if it's just something that can make you maybe a couple $100 extra a month to use towards groceries or something. You just never know when something's going to happen. Basically, just don't get too comfortable because life can come at you in the blink of an eye. Life can happen in the blink of an eye. And also, if somebody blesses you with $25,000, don't give it all away. Like, if you want to put a little chunk in church or a charity or whatever, that's good. But yeah, that's the thing that got me. I'm like, yeah, he should have done that. But then I'm like, wait, he quit his job at Trader Joe's, so he didn't have a job at that time. And this was before he got the $25,000. This was before he got the job offers. So yeah, him giving all that money away, yeah, I would have been no. I got it. Geoffrey, you kind of dropped the ball with that. So, with that being said, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. And also, I remember when the news first went, viral and whatnot. And I was remembering some people talking trash, like, oh, he's a failure and this and that. And I'm thinking, at least he's doing something legal. Because think about how many, has-been actors or one-hit wonder musical artists are, strung out on drugs, or they get arrested for robbery or something like that. The man is doing a hard, he's putting in some labor, for some hard-earned money to support him and his family. So I'm never going to job shame somebody for that. That's pretty much all I got. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.